What is up, Gamer Army? Welcome back to Psycho Gamer. I am your host, Aubrey, and today we are going to talk about Joust. Now, Joust has been out since the 80s, been out for a very, very long time. It's one of those retro games that you just really can't ignore. It was a very simple game. Fly an ostrich, and you're jousting. So you want to be just a little bit higher than the other bad guys, whether you land right on top of the other enemies or you hit them straight on with your jousting stick just being just a little bit higher than the other one. You will die a lot. I mean, it's just pretty much how this game pretty much works. So we're going to take a look at this particular cabinet that has not been announced officially, but it is out there, so you can actually get all the information you want that I'm actually going to present to you today. Make sure you hit that like and subscribe, guys, and stay tuned. We are going to talk Legacy Edition Arcade Joust right after this. All right, guys, welcome back again. Like I said, today we are going to talk about some Joust. I know I just recently did video on Dig Dug. I'm also did one on the Mortal Kombat Legacy and also Centipede. So this is the time of the year where a lot of new stuff is either announced or has been released. And just an FYI for you, I believe the Centipede one has actually been released already. I think a couple people have already released pictures of them having it completed online for being released and shipped to their house. So that's actually really cool. So we are going to switch over into my computer. We're going to take an in-depth look at these Joust cabinets. Now, before we do that, there have been people in the past that have said, why are you doing reviews on cabinets that you don't even have? Well, this isn't a review. This is just a look at the actual cabinet and the look and the build and the layout and the design of them. So some of them are not necessarily reproductions, but they're the exact same cabinets as other ones that have been released, like this particular one. It is going to be literally the Mortal Kombat 30th anniversary, just with a whole new fresh coat of paint is really what it is. So after that, now we're going to switch over. All right, here we go. So this is your Joust cabinet. Now, I'm kind of surprised they haven't done one before now, but that's okay. Why? Because now they're doing it. See, now when you actually have a cabinet like this and you actually have stuff on the front here, it gives it a little more flair. Yes, I don't know why I keep using the word flair, but it pops a lot more. Now, unlike the Dig Dug one where it's just plain black, yeah, that's more of your typical look, but this one I think it just looks a little better. It doesn't look quite so blah on the front. You have your Midway Classic Arcade right in the front as well, right below the coin door, which is really cool. It's still the molded 3D one that they've actually been putting on a lot of their new ones. It's a whole lot better and a far cry from the sticker that they were putting on some of these cabinets. You probably still will get those on a couple of them, but I think as a whole they've realized this is a much better selling point for a lot of people to get the full retro feel, as opposed to just slapping a sticker on and be like, haha, it's just flat. So we are going to have 2 players right here. So that's one thing that the Dig Dug cabinet was lacking, was 2 players, but I think a majority of those games were single players, short of you kind of shifting out players or switching out players on the fly. It does have your yellow trim all the way around, which I have seen people replacing the yellow trim or red trim on some of these cabinets, or the black trim, with some colorful tape, which really makes the cabinets just, they pop a whole lot more. So this is your typical 45-degree angle that we're used to seeing. Here is your other side with your big giant ostrich and your knight on the side. Here's your straight on shot. Now, the one thing I do kind of like a little bit is that your control deck seems to be a little more separated from the rest of the cabinet. Now, some of the other ones, like you say, the Ninja Turtle one right behind me, it's still built really well, But having it built like that, a little bit different look, a little bit different feel when it comes to these cabinets. I just kind of like it. For me, that just looks a little nicer. You got your big Joust word on the side, title of the actual cabinet. The ostriches just always look so weird on these things. You got your other side, exact same thing. Now we're going to look at the control deck. So many buttons, and it's so weird looking how they've got these buttons on here. So they've got the one button for this particular game, which is flap, 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 flap. And then your other buttons are going to be for many of the other games that are going to be on here, like your Mortal Kombats and things like that. But to me, it's just kind of a weird layout. Almost kind of reminds me of the Neo Geo layouts for the Neo Geo joysticks and such. Maybe, maybe not. But, you know, it really depends on you and your gameplay style and if you've played with those. Got your on-off button, volume, 1 player, 2 player, and you got your big yellow button there. I'm not sure what that's for. Most likely that's going to be something like for your live play. It just doesn't have the big sticker on it or the big decal saying, hey, this is the live button. And then you have your headphone jack right there too, which many people are utilizing that to do some sort of external speakers. Next screen, got a little bit of a pullback from there. Now, one thing that I noticed on this, it does have the Arcade1up logo right on the front screen. Now, with the Dig Dug one, it did not have that on that particular screen, which I think was kind of nice. You know that you're going to see Arcade1up when you first turn these cabinets on anyway. So they got your Arcade1up here, and you also have it right in front of the control deck as well. So, and then you have your straight on shot. It's just a nice looking cabinet. The arts just kind of pop right there for you, even though it's a little bit dark when it comes to the art. I think the yellow trim really helps it just kind of jump right out at you. Now let's look at all the other things they have on here. Wi-Fi live online play and leaderboards. So there are going to be some games that are going to be able to play online, and you are going to have leaderboards in general. Custom riser light up marquee, 17-inch color LCD screen with adjustable variable volume. It includes 14 classic Midway games, which, much like your Dig Dug, is a really good thing. But they got some good games in here. You have Joust, Mortal Kombat 1, 2, 3, Ultimate Mortal Kombat 3, Tube and Rampage, Wizard of War, Gauntlet, Root Beer Tapper, Defender, Bubbles, Paperboy, and Clax. Nothing always gets me is you get Mortal Kombat 3 and then you have Ultimate Mortal Kombat 3. They are literally the same game. It's just Ultimate Mortal Kombat 3 has more fighters, but it's the same game. So, and I think they had a couple more worlds and things like that as well. But Ultimate MK3 is definitely the one people will want to play over Mortal Kombat 3 unless you just want to unlock those other characters. Molded coin door, coinless operation, clear deck protector, and anti-tip over strap, and plugs into the AC outlet. The Dig Dug one didn't have all this information, but it's pretty much going to have all the same stuff. They all are coming with this clear deck protector, so don't break it, don't tighten it down too tight and have it crack all over the place, because then you'll be scrounging for another one or contacting Arcade1up or going into the forums like, hey, does anybody have one they're not using, or have one from a cabinet they broke, etc., etc. And there's really not much more information down here because they put everything at the top, unlike the Dig Dug one. So the Dig Dug one was kind of a little spotty. Item dimensions 58 inches, your typical height, without the actual riser, if I'm not mistaken. If not, that'll be with the riser. But there's really not much more to really tell when it comes to this particular cabinet. Now, one thing I have noticed, though, on this particular one that I noticed with the other ones is it doesn't have that little line going across right here. So that little extension or whatever the reasoning is, they do it over on the Dig Dug and Centipede cabinets and Mortal Kombat. It doesn't look like it's on here. That doesn't mean that it won't be there, because the same thing happened with the Centipede cabinet. I did a video, and literally 3 days later, they released new pictures, updated pictures. So these could be the final ones. These could be tentative pictures. So just kind of keep that in mind as well, guys. So that you aren't coming back and being like, hey, you said it wasn't like this. Well, there's a possibility it could be like that. It seems like they're starting to do that with these particular legacy cabinets now. So that is going to do it for this episode, guys. Hopefully you got some really good information for this Joust cabinet. Joust was just a fun game. It was a weird, wacky game at the time. You know, you're hitting the enemies, they're dropping an egg, and you're picking up the egg before they hatch again and come back and try to kill you again. So I had a lot of fun with this growing up in a couple of different arcades I went to. I used to go to a youth center when I was a kid, and this is one of the games that was actually there. Always had a lot of fun. Also had it for the Atari 2600 as a kid as well. The Atari games, they were great having them in your home. They just didn't have that same feel at the time of your actual arcade cabinets. I don't know what it was. Even Pac-Man and Miss Pac-Man, it was a big miss when it came to playing them at home. You had a lot of people like, oh yeah, this is great. This is amazing. It wasn't the same, unfortunately. Especially those Atari joysticks. Oh my goodness, those things were horrible to try to play with. But it was something new, it was something fresh that people were able to play. So now we have all of our PlayStations and Xboxes, and you can get your own joysticks for them, but a lot of people still love having these cabinets and some of the old classic consoles just for that nostalgia. Nothing wrong with that. They just take up a crap ton of space when you start looking at a little over 2 feet wide each. You would have to have almost a warehouse to have all these particular cabinets, or a very, very large location in terms of a man cave. Could be a giant storage shed, it could be a giant garage, even a basement. Problem with basements, though, is they flood. So you just have to be careful with that, which I've seen a couple people, they posted pictures recently of their basement getting about that much water in the bottom, just enough to ruin the risers on every single one of their cabinets. So my heart goes out to you guys for those of you that do have those kind of issues. So on one other note, before I actually go, some of the reasons I haven't been doing videos lately, obviously life has been kind of getting ahead of me lately. I do work 2 jobs, work 7 days a week, so it's a little hard to come and make these particular videos for you guys. I still love doing it when I'm able to. Plus, roommates and things like that kind of get in the way of enjoying these kind of things. But I still enjoy making them for you guys. So hopefully you guys are still appreciating the videos. I know they are very similar in terms of quality each time. I did have a new audio mixer, so you see my nice audio mixer right over here. I have a new one that I'm going to be getting hopefully within the next couple of weeks. Financial issues, I had to cancel the order that I had, but it is going to come. It's going to have some cool new effects. So hopefully you'll like those once I kind of figure out how to use it like I am hoping to. So that's going to do it for today, guys. Make sure you hit that like and subscribe and turn on those notifications, and stay tuned for another episode of Psycho Gamer. Until then, game on.